On one hand, I want to say I cannot believe I'm about to talk about this right now. On the other hand, it's unavoidable. I'm about to have to talk about this right now. You know what you wouldn't think you'd be doing? I think football spring training is the equivalent of any one of us at the driving range. That's what it is. You don't know a heck of a lot. In fact, you know very little. Teams at the end of the year that are good bring back a lot of the good players. They're going through spring training just to stay, just to stay sharp, I guess, healthy and sharp. And, that's how you do it. And then if you don't return a bunch of veteran players, then you try to find some new talent. It's just not a heck of a lot. Stuff that goes into it on the coaching side, but you can't take away a heck of a lot. That's what I would always tell people. You don't know with practice. But the setup with Texas is different. On one hand, you would say, well, this is a team that's sort of on cruise control. They win a conference championship, they play in a Final Four, and they return the same quarterback who led them to a conference championship and a Final Four. And he's had the job for a couple of years. There is no reason whatsoever that any quarterback with a 2-year resume coming off a championship season, conference-wise, a semifinal game, there's no way that guy loses his job. That doesn't happen. Well, enter Arch Manning. Separating out the fan chaos, the face painter chaos, and honestly, absolute obsession by the media, it's almost impossible to do. I'm going to give Texas, their head coach, and their 2 quarterbacks a lot of credit. I don't think it's going to matter to people. I don't think it's going to matter to people in my business. But they are handling and have handled the Arch Manning. Remember, he comes from football royalty. Okay? It's football royalty. It's not his fault. But I'm going to tell you, the people on the inside of Texas have handled his chaos, the mania, as well as you could handle it. He's done everything just right in terms of minimizing the chaos around him. He's handled it perfectly, and that's rare to do publicly. It's really rare to do if you're a 19-year-old who thinks you should be playing every down. He's been a breath of fresh air. The way Steve Sarkisian has handled this has been a breath of fresh air. The way Quinn Ewers, the starting quarterback, has handled this has been a breath of fresh air. But you know what? That's where it stops. It's every time the guy throws a pass in practice, every time the guy throws a pass in warm-up, it is newsworthy. It shouldn't be, but it is. And that's the reality. Where are you going with this, Jeff? Well, where I'm going with this is, on the Texas side, they've done everything right and pumping the brakes. The rest of you, not so much. So it'll be interesting. If there's a real test for Steve Sarkisian, for Quinn Ewers, for the teammates, for the Texas program, if there's a real test, it is a PR test. And the PR test is this. How do you answer for it all the time? How do you minimize the mania? And what happens when your starting quarterback does something wrong? What happens? Because he can do nothing wrong, and the media world is blowing up. What happens when he does something wrong? Throws a couple picks against Michigan on the road. Whatever, stuff happens. But stuff doesn't usually happen with a starting quarterback who is almost always given the benefit of the doubt. That's the way it should work. You're given the benefit of the doubt. You've got a trophy in the case. You get the benefit of the doubt when you make a mistake. But in this case, you got mania. Absolute full-on mania. Texas wins a conference championship. Texas goes to the Final Four. They have their spring training. And what do you think the story is? What do you think? Some new receiver? Offensive lineman? Health? Whatever. Nope. It's a backup quarterback. It's a backup quarterback. It is the news of the day, and nothing's going to stop this train. It's not Arch Manning's fault. He doesn't hype himself up. He shows up and does what he's supposed to do. That's play football. And on Saturday in Austin, Texas, against another team, which is his team, he lit it up. The numbers are off the charts. The video it looks ridiculously good. I'm going to throw water on it because I'm not sure where the defense was, but whatever. In this orange-white game, this is practice, everyone. It's just practice. He threw a 75-yard touchdown on his first pass attempt. It's probably been replayed 7 million times. He started this scrimmage. It's practice, everyone. 10 of 10. And he finished the first half 11 of 13 for 189 yards and 2 TDs. His first interception, yes, because everyone is tracking this. You do know this is the first paragraph of the very first story about Texas on every news site there is. It's among the first 4 stories on ESPN, not college football page, on ESPN. His first incompletion occurred with 12 seconds left in the second quarter. His second throw bounced off the hands of a receiver. I think there were about 3 drops. So if you want to make an argument, he almost went 13 to 13. You can make a pretty decent argument. That's about as good as you can do. It's practice. It's practice. So, now what? Now what? Here's the actual broadcast. Yes, people broadcast practice. Broadcast of the game. And it can't even be tempered.
The spring game. Can I give you that? Longhorn fans showing up. A kid named Arch Manning. I've heard of him before. He's been talked about. First throw, home run.
Why not take it all? Why settle for first down when you can just throw touchdowns?
75 yards of DeAndre Moore. White team now pulls within a touchdown. We're going to see a lot more of 16 in this highlight. So, he enjoyed it. Second quarter, we go. Same score. Manning still under center. As we said, Quinn's day was done. Ryan Niblett, between Niblett and Niblack, we're going to have to get used to those things.
Yeah, we're going to have to do some enunciations this year, that's for sure.
Later in the drive, we were talking about it with Alex Okafor earlier. He wanted to see Jaden Blue makes the catch. How about that?
Yeah, you got to love that. That's where I think Jaden Blue can really be utilized this year, is being able to get out in kind of that slot position and make some throws down the field with their running back.
You're my boy, Blue. Game tied at 14. Owens still lead that orange squad. How about that play and the speed from the freshman?
With the size, 6'2", 200, I believe is where he's at. Being able to go down the sideline, that's the deep threat you need right there.
My God, a freshman. Wingo, Owens keeping the orange team in it. They're up 21-14. Third quarter we go. White squad trailing 21-17. Manning still in at QB. How about that pass? Surgical.
Just the way he looks very comfortable today in the pocket, being able to find the open receivers.
Running back depth, no Jonathan Brooks, no problem. C.J. Baxter punches it in. Short touchdown run. White squad takes their first lead of the game, up 24-21. Fourth quarter, this is where it gets really fun. Orange team trailing 27-21. Cole Lord in at quarterback. Going
there it is.
Fourth and 13. Washington comes up with the
nobody cares about the rest of the guys. Who cares? I'm not even sure people care about the starting quarterback. He's got talent. All right. I won't sit here and say that there's not arm talent. I won't sit here and say that, as his coach said, he's got the eyeballs look downfield. True. Footwork. True, good in his first meaningful minutes. Playing mop-up duty during the regular season when the crowd goes crazy is not meaningful minutes. We can call an inter-squad scrimmage in meaningful minutes. I'm fine with that. I would caution you not to go too far. Heck, guys made the same mistake a year ago when talking about their backup quarterback. The only time I'd seen Malik Murphy, who was their backup quarterback, play, I was blown away by how good he looked. Then he played in a real game, and it was meh. It was meh. I think I know what I'm talking about, and it was meh. I bragged about him for 3 days, saying, oh, my God, look at his skills. And in practice, the skills were there. So I made a little bit of that mistake with the previous backup. Where does this go? It goes nowhere. It may go it goes a long way with many of you. It goes a long way with media that's chomping at the bit for good reason. Look, everybody wants the football royalty story. Everybody wants it. Okay? It's just too good. It's too good for the talk show business. Everybody wants it. That's unfortunate for Quinn Ewers, but everybody wants it. His head coach's job, I think I said this a year ago, but I'm probably going to end up repeating this many times. The head coach's job is not to appease you. It's not to appease those of us in the talk show business. It's not to appease the Manning family, the Ewers family, the Ward family, or any other family. Okay? The head coach's job, and I believe most coaches follow this rule because they want to win. All the head coach can care about is how do you win games, because that's the responsibility to the entire team in your program. And it doesn't matter what the last name is. I know most people think, just like you think with your kids, oh, the coach doesn't like my kid, so he doesn't start him. That kind of stuff, that's BS at the college level. It's BS. You can think it all you want. It's not true. Won't happen. He can't operate that way. It doesn't matter how big a name it is. And this is the biggest. I know this is tough to comprehend. The head coach cannot let this get any more of a dumpster fire or a good problem. I'm sorry. I mean, it's not the worst problem to have. A star backup quarterback is never a problem, especially when the star backup quarterback handles it perfectly and doesn't say anything. It's a dream come true for a head coach. Most of the time, somebody's stomping and whining and complaining about their playing time. Arch Manning does none of it. He goes out of his way not to be talked to. He gave one interview last year. One. Good for him. Good for him. So no matter what hype you want or I want in the talk show business, the head coach can't do it. He can't. No matter how much hype there is, no matter how nauseating it may be for Quinn Ewers, you can't buy into it. And Arch Manning just has to keep doing what he's doing and shut his face. Just play. When he gets a chance to play, just play. Where I think this thing, that's how they handled it that's how they handle it when things are good. As long as you're winning, it's just a nice side story. The minute your quarterback starts to make mistakes, even if they aren't worthy of him getting yanked, and I think it would have to take a lot. I don't know anyone who pulls their starter when he's put a championship trophy in the case. You don't mess with that. You don't. Stay away from it. You never want a quarterback looking over his shoulder. So you better go. I would assume Steve Sarkisian does this, but you're going to say, "But Jeff, look at him. I mean, if you've got this superstar waiting to come in, how can you look away when there's a chance?" I don't know. It'll be an interesting test. If and when Quinn Ewers makes mistakes, and mistakes only count when they're in real games. Mistakes don't count in practice. We're not counting that. That doesn't matter. If there's mistakes made in a big game, a real game, meaningful minutes, the pressure would be there, sure. But you better go there lightly, because once you go there, once you hand the ball to Arch Manning, it's wild. So they are so lucky. You know, the Texas program is very fortunate. Arch Manning and Quinn Ewers know how to handle this, and that is shut up. Don't talk. Don't make it a bigger deal than it is. Will he change? I don't know. It hasn't so far. I'm surprised he stuck around. Most players in his position who knew they weren't going to play, most likely weren't going to play the next year, wouldn't stick around. Very few would stick around. You can make an argument. The advice would be for him to go somewhere else. But he's apparently sticking around. So the upside is he's got talent. The upside is he got meaningful minutes practice. He'll get meaningful minutes in games, and it'll be interesting to see how well the head coach, the starting quarterback, and the backup, how well they handle that. You're going to go crazy. The talk show business is going to go crazy. Every screen pass this kid completes, people go nuts. How are those three going to handle it if and when he gets to play and he has success? I mean, that's a big deal. Didn't happen a year ago. Shouldn't have happened a year ago. But a pick here or there, an injury that knocks you out for a quarter or two. What about a game? What about a game? Think to last year. Malik Murphy comes in and plays 2 games. What if that were Arch Manning? What if that were Arch Manning and he had good minutes? What if that were Arch Manning and he completed his first 10 passes? Then what? It's a good problem to have, okay? There's a lot of people that like to have somebody come off the bench and do well, but in this case, it's football royalty, which will spell full-on media and fan chaos. Full-on chaos. Easiest thing for everyone except Arch Manning is Quinn Ewers plays well, Texas cruises along, has a good year, maybe not great, but good enough. Reality is he'll make mistakes and he might get banged up a little bit. Then what? Then what? Then you're going to go crazy and you're going to say they've got the next Patrick Mahomes, get him in there now. That's what you're going to say. What's his coach going to say?